Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and in this video I want to clarify some common confusion among flight simmers in regards to the term checklist. Many flight simmers have asked me over the time if I could supply the checklist that I've been using for my 737 operation here on the YouTube channel, and when I showed them what I was using they were basically rather disappointed. So let's have a very quick look into exactly the difference between what most of these simmers have actually been looking for and what they've gotten because they've asked for the incorrect term. Well, there is a difference between a checklist and what we call a flow. A flow is a whole procedure that basically tells you every single thing you want to do. An example of a flow we can see over here on the FCOM from the 737. So in here, for example, we've got the preliminary pre-flight procedure, and you can see that there is all kind of very detailed information in here, like full IRS alignment is recommended before each flight, IRS mode selectors off, then nav, verify that the lights illuminate, then extinguish, and so on. And this is the kind of stuff that pilots have to learn by heart, and this is the stuff that in airline operation pilots are basically executing on every single flight. Now, things are a little bit different then in terms of checklists. Now, when many simmers ask for a checklist, then this over here is actually what they mean. Now, however, what a checklist actually is basically this. Now, these are the checklists that are used in conjunction with the flows in order to ensure safe operation of the aircraft. As you can see over here, pre-flight checklist only consists of oxygen, nav transfer display switches, window heat, pressurization mode selector, flight instruments, park and brake, and engine start levers. So this is a very, very abbreviated form, and this only includes the most important safety critical items, compared to the flow, which tells you all the knobs and buttons you need to press, all the checks you need to do during the entire pre-flight procedure. However, the checklist is just in place in order to ensure that the most important things have been done. So the way this is done in airline aviation is that first you conduct the flow. For example, here we've got the walk around, which is not mentioned in the checklist at all. But then, for example, over here we've got the pre-flight procedure to be conducted by the first officer. And you can see that basically we're going over the entire panel over here, we're going over every single light, we're going over every single panel. And all of these things are then ran by the pilot, and this is all done by heart. Now, when all of this procedure is complete, only then, after you've carried out the procedure, you are going to run the checklist in order to check that the most important things have been done. So, for example, going over the pre-flight checklist, oxygen tested 100%. Very important check, because if decompression happens, that oxygen needs to be working or you're dead. Simple as that. Navigation, transfer, and display switches, normal and auto. Very important to ensure that the airplane is behaving the way it's supposed to. If you look at the panel, for example, up here on the nav transfer and display switches, you can see that you could, for example, switch the airplane to work only on the number 2 radio, only on the number 1 radio, only on a single IRS, only on a single FMC, and so on. So once again, that is very important to carry out correctly. Even more so because if you go both on 2 and you then use the autopilot on the number 1 system, well, you can barely see any information as to that you are all of a sudden not using the on-side radio. Like only that little VOR2 up here gives it away for you. Then going ahead with the checklist, next up we got the window heat. That's very important as well, because the cockpit windows are made so that they get their optimal strength, in other words, the best resistance against the bird strike when they are in the heated temperatures. So if you've got a cold window, it is going to be much more susceptible to breaking when it's hit by a bird than if it is at the most optimal temperature. That's the reason the step is here in the checklist. Pressurization mode selector, auto. Yeah, you've surely heard about that Helios 737 that crashed because this one was set a manual. Flight instruments. Of course, you're making sure that both the captain and the first officer see the same thing over there. So once again, vitally important. Park and brake, set, same thing. Because injury can occur to ground crew when the chocks are being removed or when the airplane is lifted by the tug. Engine start levers, cutoff, again, same thing. So you can see this one only goes over the safety critical items versus the flow, which basically goes over everything over here, like checking the trim air switches on. Yeah, that thing is forgotten. I don't know how often it happened to me, but not only a single time. And you know, the plane still operates totally normally. So that's the big difference between the checklist and the flow. Now, for the flows, again, you want a flight crew operations manual. Luckily, for pretty much any airliner, a flight crew operations manual is available if you just Google for it. Indeed, this one, the AFCOM version 1 for the PMDG 737. Now, this is back from the days in Flight Simulator X, so like 12 years ago by now. And even this one's still available to be found via Google, and that is where you can get your full procedures for operating the airplane. This not only includes the normal procedures, but you also have a lot of guidance for abnormal procedures, etc. Otherwise, if you're looking for abnormal procedures, you can always go into the QRH, where you have the normal checklist as well. Now, there are different forms of normal checklists available for the Boeing 737. For example, this is what it looked like at my former operator, and the left side is what the original Boeing side looks like. So you can see that operators are customizing their checklists, and there are many reasons for why they do it. For example, on the right hand side there on the checklist you see there's a lot more items included. Now, that is the case because it was a rather large operator operating with pilots of many different cultures, so for that reason they want to streamline things a little bit more than Boeing would by themselves. But either way, you can see how all the different checklists are basically once again covering only the safety relevant critical items, while the flow would be covering the normal items. Alright, that is going to be it for this video. I do surely hope that you have learned something on this one. So next time, if you're asking somebody if they can provide you with something, then mind your wordings, as the result of what you're getting could be very different regarding what you ask for. Now, there's a little difference there again between airline aviation and general aviation. So in general aviation they tend to use checklists, but they use a whole different principle to follow those, which I'm going to cover in a different video, also explaining why there is such a difference between general aviation and airline aviation. Now, that's going to be it for today's video. I would like to thank you very much for watching. Hope that you've enjoyed this one. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. And also let me know if you knew this one already or if this was new to you. I would like to say thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, as it does help out the channel. Leave a comment to let me know what you think about it, if you knew about it already, or if you want more content of this kind of type. And finally, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more to come. In the meantime, thanks for watching. If you really loved my video, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. But in the meantime, I'd like to say thank you very much, and see you all again on the next one.